This is Cents Per Mile, featuring Charles Gracie, Paul Gibson, and Josh Haynes. Everyone knows the trucking industry has issues, but most people are afraid to talk about it.
Someone's got to do it.
With loads of recruiting and marketing experience and backed by the largest driver audience in the world, we deliver carriers the driver perspective, find solutions, and help make sense make sense.
Thank you for tuning in to Cents Per Mile. I'm Charles Gracie.
And I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson.
I'm Josh Haynes, drinking my holiday tea, sitting here thinking, why did Charles introduce himself so weird? Speaking of Charles, what are we talking about on today's episode?
We're talking Christmas, the trucking naughty and nice list.
Yep. Who gets coal? Who gets presents? I guess we're about to find out.
Probably more coal than presents, but let's hop into it.
It's definitely a vibe. But yeah, before we get started, we'll say all the things we normally say. We are on Apple Music. We are on Spotify, Amazon Music, etc., YouTube. So if you could, anywhere where you take in our content, if you could like, subscribe, rate, that'd be great. It gets us pushed out a little bit more, gets us some more momentum, and we can do cooler stuff.
You can also go to centspermilepodcast.com where you can suggest a topic to be a guest or to become a sponsor.
Sponsors? Who's our sponsor today, Charles?
Decker Truck Line, where they're driven to be the best. Check out Decker at deckertruckline.com.
All right, and because today's format is a little bit different, before we get into it, it's time to go behind the desk with Tenstreet.
To all the drivers and carriers, we'd like to say thank you for making our spirits bright and delivering more than just Christmas gifts this year.
To the carriers and drivers who keep our holidays running smoothly, thank you for all you do.
Santa's sleigh may get all the glory, but let's not forget our real holiday heroes. Thank you, drivers and carriers, for delivering the magic of the season 1 mile at a time.
Here's to a season full of gratitude and safe travel.
Wherever the road takes you.
To all the drivers and carriers we work with every single day, happy holidays from the Tenstreet team.
To all the drivers and carriers who keep our country moving, happy holidays from Tenstreet.
From all of us at Tenstreet, we wish you a joyful and safe holiday season.
Well, we're cutting straight to our main topic. It's time to make sense, and we're about to make sense of the naughty nice list. So there's a lot of people out there in the industry who believe in certain things like driver shortages, which is kind of like, believing in Santa. Sure, it's real. If there's kids listening. Anyway, so let's kind of go over this. We'll hop right into it. First one. Brokers, naughty or nice?
Oh, for sure, naughty. Like, hands down, naughty.
Yeah? You think brokers are naughty? What do you think, Josh? After experience, you went to the Broker Carrier Summit. And don't judge everybody just by hanging out with Sage.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle. Maybe it depends on the person. I'm gonna say they fall under the Grinch category. And let me phrase that as in, they can be nice, but they can also steal all your stuff and the holiday ham.
I don't know. After being at the Broker Carrier Summit, realizing that a lot of it is they're doing their side of things and drivers and carriers are trying to do their side of things. And generally there's a confliction point in the middle. I think depending on when you ask in the year, depends on people's views on brokers. They got a job to do. And obviously based on the last year, their job has been in their favor. That pendulum's going to swing the other way. So I don't know. I'd say in the middle, depending on which one you're talking about.
Yeah, the old jolly guy does not have a gray area. He has two lists. There is no maybe list where you just get socks. So we got to keep this straight. All right, I'm going to ask one more time. I don't need any more explanations, but from here on out with this one, I need a naughty or nice, Charles.
I'll say naughty just because I'm pro driver.
All right, Josh, naughty or nice?
I'm also going to say naughty. Two hands naughty.
All right. I will also, even though every time I talk to Paul from Free Caviar, my heart does grow 3 times bigger, much like the Grinch. I am also going to have to say naughty.
Coal for you.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely take a percentage of that coal. Now, we're going to go to the next one. This should be an easy one. Shippers.
Hands down, the biggest basket of coal. You have to pass a bathroom bill to let drivers use the bathroom at your facility. You get coal.
All right. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that one. If I'm needing to drop some coal and I got nowhere to drop that coal and it's some hot coal that needs to come right now, no, that's naughty all the way through.
All right. Well, I am going to say that I don't know about the biggest bag of coal. I got a couple coming up that I think might get bigger. But yeah, I mean, at the same time too, like shippers, what they're paying is also the base of what dictates driver pay. And we complain about that all the time. And what they're willing to pay is going to dictate profit for trucking companies, which also then dictates what they can pay their drivers and what forces 6% to be a large profit margin for trucking companies. So I will definitely say naughty, and I think that is a unanimous coal from us. All right, well, next, what do you think about insurance companies?
Oh, hands down coal. I mean, send crumpets, don't even send Santa.
Yeah, I don't even like insurance companies for my own vehicle, let alone for the trucking industry. So I'm gonna say no. That's a no for me. They are naughty through and through. I feel weird saying naughty so many times, but naughty.
Hey man, Christmas, it's tacky, and sometimes there's a lot of weird stuff that goes with it. It is what it is. Yeah, no, for sure. But like, I mean, when you think of what really pushes a lot of things with like, all of these safety measures, while some of them are great, like at the same time, like speed limiters and that sort of thing, and inward facing cameras, stuff like that. Sure, they can provide some good stuff, some good points that can help in very selective situations. But ultimately, a lot of that comes from companies only implementing them so they can get discounts from the insurance companies. And ultimately, the insurance companies are the only ones who are coming out on top with the giant profit margins.
Well, they're there to support the business, and I think that's gotten lost over time. It's become more something that dictates the pace of the business, and that's where I think they need to really get in touch with who they serve, and it shouldn't be themselves.
Right, but also at the same time, when you look at certain lobby organizations and the legislation that does actually get passed, with in Congress and stuff like that, the bills that actually get passed, a lot of them benefit the insurance companies more than they benefit anybody else. Which drivers can't even get bathroom access. We talk about that all the time. It's interesting that they're on top. So I think that is an overall naughty. And I would say that is probably, in my opinion, the largest lump of coal.
Speaking of naughty, though, like, how about the whole clearinghouse? I want to see them on the list.
Yeah, well, I mean, the clearinghouse is, I think, where this Christmas gathering might be happening.
I mean, talk about something that had the best of intent and then execution just fell short.
Well, I don't think execution fell short. I mean, I did the math, and I haven't checked up to see if it was correct. I made a prediction and had a theory at the beginning, looking at the operating costs, what it costs to start it up. And I think that's actually a profitable thing after, I think it was 5 years when I did the math. So there's money to be made on that. And, the whole thing was under the guise of helping people hire like SAP drivers. But at the same time, back to, one of our previous subjects, no one's hiring the SAP drivers because insurance.
Well, and you just got 170,000 drivers CDLs revoked on this. And the whole concept of the clearinghouse is to reintroduce those drivers after they've shown some signs of improvement on what got them on the list. And there is no way because of insurance. So and again, you have insurance completely dropping a deuce on the industry and these drivers and not giving them a entry back in because insurance is dictating that you can't hire these people unless you pay some outstanding premium to do so.
Right. And I mean, everything we've covered so far, like, completely goes with that hot take I made earlier this year, where, sure, I disagree that there's a driver shortage. Absolutely. You could say, oh, there's a shortage of quality jobs, there's a shortage of this.
Shortage of qualified applicants based on today's standards dictated by insurance.
Right. So I think I still stand by that. I think, it's an FAFO moment. I think that eventually we are, in fact, we are manufacturing a driver shortage. And it's the kind where nothing's going to help that. It becomes systematic. Okay, well, let's spin it. Let's make sure to not just crap on everything. Uh OIDA, right? You got two major lobby groups. One is very carrier facing, one is very big on driver, the other one's very big on driver advocacy. And I would definitely say that is OIDA.
OIDA's hands down the way to go. Hands down the way to go. They deserve the biggest Christmas tree with the most presents. They're doing it right. Now, if you bring Noah into the mix at the same time, I'm saying just drop coal.
Yeah, well, I mean, grassroots is a great intent. It is what it is. It's just all about how you do it. So, but you do have to say, Charles, naughty or nice on OIDA?
Nice, hands down, nice. The nicest, top of my list.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Charles, which feels weird because I've done that a lot on this episode, and I just don't like it. But OIDA is awesome. I would give them as many presents as possible, but we know OIDA, and they would probably give all those presents to the drivers instead of keeping it for themselves.
Yeah, well, and I'm not unconvinced with his little nuggets of knowledge he drops and sayings that Louis Pugh is not trucking Santa. But yeah, but back to Josh's point real fast. Yeah, agreeing with Charles is weird this much, but sometimes that's what the holidays are all about. But yeah, no, OIDA rules. I'm gonna say nice. We all say nice. I'd prefer to give them the biggest present instead of the biggest Christmas tree, like Charles said, but it is what it is.
I want the biggest Christmas tree full of presents.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. I'll take that. Okay. So now let's go with Congress.
Oh, do we have to even give them coal?
No, because they don't give us anything. So that actually checks out.
I was about to say, I feel bad giving them anything other than crap because that's all they deserve.
Well, and I guess it's also the Christmas season, so absolutely none of them are in Washington. Probably. Or if they are, they're just passing some late night, like, let's push it.
Like, pass some bills, do your job, bathroom access, fair wages for drivers. Like, pick one of them and move it forward so we can know that you guys have some sign of life over there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, so I don't really, maybe we just don't give them anything. We just don't acknowledge them. Like, they don't acknowledge. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what we're doing. But they don't really acknowledge drivers, so I don't know that we need to really acknowledge them. That actually makes a lot of sense. Now, yeah, what about well, I mean, we're here, we're on it right now. It's in the corner, one of the corners. What about freight waves?
Oh, hands down, nice list. They're supplying data and insights to the industry in areas that we're lacking. And they're constantly innovating new ways to put things on the forefront for people to make decisions. So I think that's a huge win, top of the nice list.
Yeah, I'm going to say Freight Waves is awesome through and through, but a huge shout out to all the team members behind the scenes that don't get a whole lot of Christmas presents. You've got them coming from me. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we got Aaron. Aaron's awesome. No one gets to see Aaron, but Aaron hands down makes us look professional. Not to mention you got the entire team behind Freight Waves, which is just full of awesome people. So definitely.
Yeah, you got South, and you got Kaylee, you got all kinds of people behind the scenes just making. Dude, Tom. Well, I was gonna get to Thomas. Thomas is like
Grace, Thomas. They're all awesome people over there.
Yeah, Thomas just gets data. Thomas gets data for Christmas. That's what he gets. He's gonna love it. I'll wrap it up with a bow. But I'm sure he already has whatever data I'd give him, so he's probably just going to take it back. All right. Here's a fun one. Truck stop roller grill items.
Man, naughty. There's nothing good that comes out of them or from them.
Or, yeah, I was going to say made from them. We don't even know what it's really made of. I can't eat them. I would be sick, and it makes me sick to think that that's a lot of what drivers are having to eat when they're on the road instead of getting some of those really nice holiday stuff. Why aren't these places doing better? This is maybe a dumb question. Why aren't they doing better? Why don't they give some like actual holiday meals out at some of these places?
That's the cool thing. Some of them do. Like if you look at some of the options that are becoming available at places, they're healthier than what's been. I mean, I'm not saying you're getting like a 4-star meal or anything like that, but they're starting to give awareness to the fact that drivers are looking for better alternatives to consume while they're out on the road.
I would say for drivers, naughty for sure. Especially, you can't control what time you show up because hours of service and that kind of thing. If you even can show up and get a spot, so where there are roller grill items, or afford it with all of the other things that you have to pay for. But as a chubby dude with like a stomach of steel, I actually I like them, but they are naughty. I would agree on that one.
Not this Santa, otherwise I'd start looking like the real deal.
Not that Santa, the real Santa, Louis.
Dude, I'm just saying I look so holly and jolly because, like, man, I can get down on some taquitos. I'm just being real. But I have more options accessible to me most of the time, so that's why
I want to get them onto the show to find out how long those things are allowed to be rolling before they got to roll off that whole system. I mean, like, is there a time limit that those things can sit there and roll and cook before someone's like, hey, we shouldn't serve those?
in my experience, I would theorize to say, I don't know for sure, but I think there's 3 different times. I think there is like the legal food service amount of time. I think there is the company policy time. And then I think there is the actual amount of time.
The bathroom time, the time where if you ingest this after a certain point, you're going straight to the bathroom.
Yeah, it's like this is supposed to be crispy. This is not supposed to be that crispy. Yeah, it's a vibe. All right. People who park in the fuel island.
Oh, coal. I think you should take their CDL and give them coal.
I don't even have anything nice to say about those people, so I'm just going to pass it back to you.
Fair enough.
Well, and let's define parking. I'm not saying you were in the fuel island, you were topping off your tanks, or you pulled up and you ran in and get something quick. But if you're that person that's taking your 30-minute break in the fuel island, if you're that person that's shutting down for your 10-hour break, or you're going in to take a shower and you're parked in that spot in front of the fuel island or the fuel island, you're an ass. You get coal.
Actually, I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. Now, is that person still on the naughty list if there was nowhere to park at the truck stop?
Yes, I mean those are reserved for 2 purposes. If parking's taken up, that's part of the parking shortage. Get a paid spot. Truck parking club, they have plenty of them. But what you can't do is take up a fuel island, because there is an individual most likely coming behind you that needs to get fuel and get back on the road, or they need to run in, use the bathroom, and they can't do so because you decided to shut down in the fuel island for a shower or a 10-hour break. And either one of those is terrible. If you're a driver, most often there's a line of trucks behind you. I've been stuck in that when I've been on the road. I don't agree with the people that go out there and like pull the pins or sit there and release the 5th wheel. I think at that point you now become part of the problem. People can get hurt. But outside of that, like those people that go in the shopping centers and put those bumper stickers saying like you're an ass for not putting your cart back or taking up 2 parking spots. I would encourage people to take that route before doing something that's going to damage equipment. Like most of those trailers are dirty. You can use your finger and write on them like, hey, be better.
Yeah, Charles gets really upset when people park in the EV parking lot, so his truck can't park there.
I don't have a green truck, sir.
Listen, you don't got to get judgmental. I would like to call a friend in, though, about this question. I don't remember her name, but she went on a date with Paul, and she had real big opinions on where drivers should and shouldn't park. I think she would be a great guest. Would you happen to have her number, Paul?
I feel like this person should remain unnamed just because they've been in 3 episode mentions at this point. Like if they're not watching the show, it's probably for the best.
Yeah, I doubt she's watching the show.
And if they're on the Kansas side and you went on a date with this guy, yes, we are talking about you.
But on that note, before we get to any of the other stuff, let's run an ad and pay some bills so we can, give more presents out.
We're excited to announce CDL Connect sessions, powered by CDLLife. 8 engaging webinars filled with insights and fresh strategies to transform how you connect with drivers. Join us Thursday, December 19th for our 8th session. Optimizing recruiting for executives, from KPIs to cost-effective hiring models, with Kevin Hall, Chief Executive Officer at CDLLife. Learn some of the latest advances in recruiting, along with proven processes that can turn recruiting into a competitive advantage. You'll gain actionable KPIs and insights to empower your recruiting team to reach their full potential. Click the link in the description to register.
All right, we're back, and we're talking naughty, nice.
And we're back.
And we're back, and we're talking naughty and nice trucking.
He just
oh,
for my Christmas wish, I want that to stay in this episode. That was great.
So next on the list, I want to talk about the fraudsters. We've seen an increase in that in trucking. I mean, it seemed like during COVID, everyone got locked in their house, and it gave people ample time to figure out new ways to scam outside of extended car warranties. They're scamming freight, they're scamming brokerages and carriers. Naughty or nice, Josh?
Naughty?
I hope so. There's only one right answer to this question.
Naughty. Naughty.
They get points for innovation, but they're still getting caught.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're not that far off from me like walking in and like, some of my older relatives being like, reading off gift card numbers that they just went and bought from the store and be like, "What are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm just trying to book this load." Like those people call you like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fix your computer, but I'm gonna need you to get $2,000 in Apple gift cards." Yeah, it's getting at that point. I mean, that's why you have so many companies popping up that that's their entire thing that they do is they stop fraud and help people vet people.
Yeah, definitely naughty list, which it seems like we're getting a lot of those, but I'm going to throw out another one, the ATA.
I'm just going to come out the gate and say, not a fan, naughty. I mean, honestly, being there, so Matt's first time I ever went there, and I know you guys have told this story a million times, once I figured out that was actually a driver in that costume, naughty.
And they're not allowed to talk.
Yeah, that was weird. Weird.
Like, if you got a safe, mild driver inside that mascot uniform, number one, shame on you. But number two, like, at least let them talk. They got better things to say than the ATA.
Yeah. So, Merry Christmas. I'm going to give you my explanation of why I'm not a fan and why I'd put them on the naughty list. I don't know if anybody watching this has ever been able to visually tell anything about me, but I kind of got, like I had my little rebel phase where, I was like, oh, the man, so I don't know. I think my problem is I feel like a lot of their policies that they push as a group, kind of they benefit people at the top and not the bottom, and I'm all about punching up and not down. Which is why I am, on the between those two. It seems like one or the other, or you're apolitical. But I think that's why typically I do lean towards OIDA in those situations, is because always punch up, punch down. I'm all about fighting for the little guy, and the ATA is kind of the antithesis of that. And I think that's why a lot of times they make an easy punching bag on the show.
Well, the thing is in what I do, I've worked with a lot of different people that partake in that industry, and all the intent is there. Full of good people, good intent. It just gets drowned out in the noise of the self-interest that they try to move. If they actually solve all the issues that they're lobbying for, there's no need for them.
Right. Well, I mean, at that point too, one of my favorite quotes is, "The path to hell is paved with good intentions." And it's the idea that like when they do it, and if you look back, and a lot of the policies that they do push do tend to favor what benefits the insurance companies over anybody. Ooh, full circle. Anyway, what do you got next, Charles?
The path to paving to the ATA is paved with a bunch of drivers in costumes.
I'm just saying there might not be such a driver shortage if the Safe Mile drivers weren't in mascot uniforms and they were on the forefront encouraging more drivers to follow that path and not the one that leads to a mascot uniform.
Hey, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. Let's be a little nice. I would actually say if you're at a point where you've driven 3 million plus safe miles and you've got years in and you're willing to just run around and wear a mascot costume.
Do you get paid by the step?
Hey, nope. We're not even doing that, because those drivers made a choice. Those are great drivers, regardless of how you feel about what they're doing. I think if you're willing to get out of the truck to step in a mascot costume, how terrible is the actual driver experience? That I think that's the angle that we've not taken on that, because I feel like a lot of times when we do poke fun at that, those drivers made a choice. They're not held at gunpoint. I don't think they're held at gunpoint to get in those costumes. But it really does tell you, like, and there's drivers that agree with it, but also like, yeah, additionally, what does that say about the driver experience where you'd be willing to do that instead of being in a truck? Or that running around, I mean, I guess as someone who, is really good at committing to the bit and has gone out of their way to put themselves in a stupid costume to, promote the cause. I get it, and it's one of those things. It's like, because what does the experience outside of that look like?
So you're saying it's so bad working with Charles and myself that getting in a banana costume was an upgrade? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Coal for all of you. No, not really. I would actually say that's actually probably a good time where we're at on time. All joking aside with that last one. I would probably put you guys on the nice list.
I feel the same way. I mean, we have done a lot this year. We've covered a lot, brought a lot of great attention to things that were plaguing the industry, lacking solutions, or just general awareness. I would definitely put you guys on the nice list, and I definitely put all of our viewers and listeners on the nice list because you have a choice and you choose to tune in and watch us each and every week. Lack of better listening options, I don't know. Many of these things might cause that, but we appreciate you.
Yep. We love every one of you guys. Now, I would put Charles on the nice list. I might put Paul on the nice list only if he thought he could get out of this episode with it, but it's not going to happen. Charles, do you remember way back when we used to have this segment that was one of my favorites? What was that called?
Me.
What was that? What was that segment called, Charles?
It was Under the Truck. It was our favorite. Are we going to get a Christmas gift?
For our Christmas gift, I just want to hear Paul riff on something in a holiday spirit. Charles, you pick what he riffs on. Something to do with the trucking industry. It could be anything we just talked about today.
You had that queued up. This was planned.
We're about out of time, but for everyone watching that needs some holiday uplift, I feel like this will do it, So give it to us, Paul.
Merry Christmas. I am the best at committing to the bit. I hate this. All right, so it's holidays in the trucking industry. You got drivers, you got carriers, you got shippers, you got receivers, you got the ATA, you got OIDA, you've got Congress, you've got everything involved. Lots of terrible, terrible, awful things. Lots of terrible, terrible, terrible people. Lots of great people. A lot of underpaid people. Do better.
You could have literally just said, do better with the music, and that'd have been perfect.
Well, hey, if you're dashing through the halls and you're short on driver pay, I hope you're not. Thanks for tuning in to Cents Per Mile. I'm your host, Charles Gracie.
I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson. Happy Christmas. Merry New Year.